Okay, hello everyone, welcome to my Stephen King collection video. I'm going to go through everything that I've got. I've been meaning to do this video for quite a while and I've been procrastinating quite a lot, so I've got the day off work and today I am finally going to do it, so let's get started. First off, I have got Carrie. Now this is a movie cover version with Sissy Spacek on the front. I'm not a big fan of movie covers on novels, but this is the only one that I could find at the time. So I will try at some point and get a first edition of this. If I can find it cheap enough, then I will. So that is my Carrie. Okay, next up is the first Stephen King book that I ever read. This is Salem's Lot. It's a UK edition. It's not a first. I quite like the illustration on the front. There are a series of these that came out sort of the early 90s, I think. They're my favourite style. I don't know why, I just quite like them. This book means quite a lot to me. I had it when I was younger in a paperback that was well thumbed, well used. It's probably at my mum's place in the loft somewhere, because I've got my own place now. I'm a grown man, I got my own place. So yeah, Salem's Lot, very, very good. Thoroughly recommend it. Read this one. If you want to start on King, it's a good place to start. A lot of people say it's not the best, but I like it a lot. Next up is the Bachman books. It has Rage, The Long Walk, which is one of my favourites, Roadwork and The Running Man in it. If you want to get a copy of this with Rage, you need to buy an older copy. It is not available anymore. Reason being is because there was a high school shooting in America. The book was found in the locker of one of the kids who did it. I guess it kind of speaks about the content of the story without spoiling too much, but Stephen King decided that he wanted it withdrawn, so you can no longer get it in the Bachman books. So you need to find an older copy. Okay. Next up is Night Shift. This has a series of short stories in it. A lot of them have been made into movies. Children of the Corn, obviously, from the front cover. There is also Graveyard Shift, The Mangler, Sometimes They Come Back, The Lawnmower Man. Trucks as well, which I think is Maximum Overdrive, Stephen King's directorial debut. So yeah, not a first edition, but I do like the cover for it. Next up, I have a Canadian copy of The Dead Zone, no dust jacket. If I can find one with a dust cover, then I will probably donate this and replace it. But it's old and dusty and decrepit, and I love it. Same again with Firestarter. If I can find a copy, then I will replace it with a dust jacket. I need to mention that all of these, with the exception of one, are hardback books because they are the ones that I do collect. I do have paperbacks, they're all in boxes in various places, mostly at my mum's house. So yeah. Next up, Cujo UK edition. I believe it is a first published in Great Britain in 1982, copyright Stephen King 1981. It may be a UK first, I'm not sure. But yeah, Cujo, I like this cover. I like the gold, it's very nice. Okay, so up next is my most beat up book, I think. It's Christine. It's got a tear on it here somewhere. I had to tape it up. It's also got quite a bit of damage down at the bottom here. This is my favourite, I think. Well, this and Misery. Favourite Stephen King photos on the back of his books. Some of them are hilarious and I love them. Stephen King and Friend. It's quite nice. This is a first Canadian, I think. (1983) Canadian. Special limited, first edition of 1000 numbered. Oh no. No. I don't know. It's a first, but it's not signed. So yeah. Christine, didn't cost me much. Bargain, nice. Only paperback that I have is Cycle of the Werewolf. It was made into a movie called Silver Bullet with Corey Haim in the late 80s, I believe. I've tried to find this in hardcover. I can get it if I really want it, but it's very expensive, so I'm okay with this for now. If I find it, charity shop, car boot sale, yard sale, something like that, then I'll pick it up. It has a lot of cool little illustrations and stuff in it that I quite like it. It's almost like a comic. Fun. Next up, by far, my favourite in regards to scares, Pet Sematary. I could read this now and still be scared. I love the idea of kind of the concept of what you would do. Excuse me. If your loved ones died and you could bring them back and they don't come back quite how you remember them. I think it's very interesting. I know that he wrote this after his son was born, and it scared him. Scared Stephen King. He says it's the most personal book, I think, that he's ever written. So yeah. Next up, a book that I've never read, although I do know that inside here has a beautiful, beautiful first page, which I really, really like. I know a fair bit about the book. I know that it's fantasy. I know that it is the first introduction of Randall Flagg, the Man in Black, who also features in The Stand and The Dark Tower, obviously. But I haven't read it. I need to. I will get around to it. But I don't know if I mentioned that I've got a copy of it, a first edition, UK, coming through the post any day now. My work colleague Mike found it for me and he bought it, so thank you, Mike. I will read that straight away, probably. I've got a paperback copy, but I would like to read a first edition. Would be very nice, and it will take me a while. Okay, next up is the most expensive book that I own of King. It's not even a great book. It's just that I tried to buy it 3 times online, and every time I bought it for a decent price, it arrived as a paperback. And in the end, I just thought, well, I'm just going to buy it anyway. So this is my version, my copy of Thinner. It's a Bachman book, but it says Stephen King in bold. Writing is Richard Bachman. I quite like the photorealistic drawing. It's part of the series that Salem's Lot was in. This cost me £12, which isn't an awful lot of money. It's about, I think it's like $17, $18 if you're American and you're watching. But I've hardly paid anything for any of these. Most of them were just like pence. Couple of pence, couple of pounds. This is the most expensive one I've actually purchased. It's not even a great book, to be fair. It's okay. I like it. The film's okay as well. But I just wanted to get it, so I did. Next up is Misery. I'm going to show you the back first because that is the best Stephen King photo. I love that photo. It's just like, you know, go for it. Misery, one of my favourites if you don't know anything about it. It's about a writer who has an accident, crashes his car in the snow, is rescued by a woman called Annie Wilkes. She takes him back to his house. He then is told by her that she is his self-proclaimed #1 fan. She gets a copy of his latest book, realises that he has killed off Misery Chastain, who is the protagonist in his novels. She then goes cray-cray and makes him write her a novel to bring her back to life, and she is a monster. And the thing that I like about it is that most of Stephen King's books revolve around some kind of supernatural element. This doesn't. There is a monster, the monster is real, and the monster is human, and I find it very interesting, very gripping. There could be an Annie Wilkes living next door, downstairs, upstairs. You may work with them. You don't know. It's cool. I love it. Next up, one of my favourite books that I own. It's a first edition of The Tommyknockers. Everyone knows that it's not a great film, it's not a great book, but I really, really like the fact that I've just got a first edition US of this. It's got mould on it. It kind of smells gross. I had to touch it up, had to use a Sharpie because it was damaged everywhere, but I'm never going to sell it. so I kind of hold it close. I like it. Nice. Next one is The Dark Half. This was written shortly after Stephen King was discovered to be Richard Bachman. It's about a writer who has a pseudonym. He then decides that he's going to stop writing as the pseudonym, and he comes to life. So I love this cover as well. It's a UK edition. It's much more interesting, far nicer than the American, which can be said for a lot of them actually. I think I'm not being biased because I'm British. I just genuinely think that some of the covers that we have are better. It's decent. It's okay. Next, I have a copy of The Stand. It's the kind of box standard one that you can find in hardcover in the UK. It is the complete and uncut edition. I would like to find a cut, edited edition. I have not found one. I did find a really nice copy a few months back in an Oxfam charity bookstore, but it was £25. I'm not prepared to spend that money, and now I kind of regret it because it's probably worth a lot more, but £25 I thought was quite steep, even for a charity. Which is where most of these came from, to be fair. So this is my copy. It's just the one you can find everywhere. I like the miniseries. It's not great. It has the same lackluster ending as this. Everyone says this is his magnum opus. I disagree. 4 Past Midnight, a series of short stories. Like many of his short stories, I don't know why, but he has a theme sort of running through them where the titles revolve around the concept of time. So there's 4 Past Midnight, Full Dark No Stars, Just After Sunset. I'm sure there's another one. Different seasons. A lot of them reference time. The passing of time. So this one has, I never know how to say it. I still don't know. The Langoliers, Langoliers, don't know. Secret Window, Secret Garden, The Library Policeman, and The Sundog. 2 Past Midnight, Secret Window, Secret Garden was made into a movie with Johnny Depp a few years ago. I haven't seen it. I should probably watch it. Although the story, the novella itself, is not great. I do like the cover. I like the fact that there's the kind of weird gargoyle thing. It's nice. Up next, one of my favourite King novels. I think Salem's Lot is my favourite. This is a very close second. Needful Things. It's so cool. I just really like the idea, the story behind it. Basically, it's one of the Castle Rock novels. He wrote, I don't know how many, set in Castle Rock. I know that The Body is one. Stand By Me, for those of you who are just kind of like the film King people. It's about a guy who rolls up to Castle Rock, sets up shop. You can buy anything in Needful Things that you want. I don't think it necessarily needs to be a physical object as far as I remember. It doesn't cost you anything. The only thing that the shopkeeper asks for is a favour. Now that favour obviously has dark repercussions. It's interesting. I like the idea of what people will, like the lengths that people will go to in order to get something that they want. It's kind of goes into the psyche of what men are really like. Okay, just finished rereading this. It's Gerald's Game. The reason why I reread it is because my friend Sarah read it recently and was asking me she said that there was a scene with a well and it linked to another story that was a story of kings, and I couldn't really remember what she was on about, so I reread it and realised that it's obviously connected to Dolores Claiborne, which incidentally is also, if you didn't know, connected to Storm of the Century. It takes place on Little Tall Island, just like this does, and it takes place at the same time. So while Storm of the Century is taking place, Dolores Claiborne is also on the island somewhere. Little fact. So yeah, Gerald's Game, Dolores Claiborne. I like Gerald's Game, Dolores Claiborne. It's a very different kind of King novel. It's enjoyable. Not one of my favourites. Definitely not one of my favourites. Next up, Nightmares and Dreamscapes. I know that there was a mini-series made of this. I think I've maybe read one or two of the short stories in this, but Dolan's Cadillac and The Night Flyer was made into a movie. I think I read The Night Flyer, and that's it. So yeah, there's like 14 of these, and there was a TV show made, and you can find it on YouTube. I'm sure you can. This is a UK fifth reprint of that. Next up is Insomnia. Again, not read this one, but I know that there are strong connections to the Dark Tower in this, so I really should read it. I know that there's a movie, and I think it's got Philip Seymour Hoffman in it, from what I recall. I need to read this, but I won't read it until after I finished it, definitely, because that is next on the list again. So yeah, Insomnia. Rose Madder, picked up about 3 weeks ago by my friend Paul from the British Heart Foundation. I remember looking inside this, and it belonged to Joe Anthony, September 95. So if that is you, hi. How you doing? I will read this. It's one of the ones that I've not really had a whole lot of interest in, but I don't think it's ever been made into a movie, as far as I'm aware. So I might have to read it. Otherwise I will probably just watch the movie of this one, to be fair. It doesn't super strike me as being great. But I'll give it a go at some point. The Green Mile. As I've said, I only collect hardback copies, but this is one that I would make an exception. I would very much like to find all 6 of the original, they're not chapters, but kind of segments, and get the whole lot. I found them before, but I only ever seem to find like 2 through 5. I can never find the first